If you've ever caught yourself saying yes when everything inside of you wanted to say no, or found yourself working so hard to make sure everyone else's needs were met that you lost track of your own, then you've found yourself in the right place today because I'm going to do a card reading for for you that's focused precisely on that. So today we're just going to slow it down a little bit and we're going to see what wants to come through. Hi, and welcome to Unmasked and Becoming. My name is Eliza. I'm a trauma-informed certified ADHD life coach, and I work at the intersection of evidence-informed coaching and intuitive practice because I believe that when we are able to access our deepest inner knowing and integrate it with evidence-based research available to us, we can truly become empowered advocates of our own healing and the healing of our planet. So, in my last video, we explored people pleasing. And we talked about what it really is, where it comes from, and how it can get wired into our nervous system as a survival response. And at the end of that video, I invited you to sit with the question, what might it feel like if the person whose needs you tended to first were your own? And for those of you that felt too much of a stretch, we just simply posed it as if you were to put yourself towards the top of your list, right? So today I want to go a little deeper with that, not from an analytical place, because we already did that work in the last video. And if you want to check that out, please feel free. It's entitled Unmasking People Pleasing, Tarot for Neurospicy and Trauma Aware Folks. But today is a standalone reading, so it's fine to just jump in here if you haven't seen that previous one. All right. So today we're going to connect with our intuition a little more deeply through symbolism of the cards and see what comes up in this reading to get a better sense of what that intuitive part of us wants to understand. So if you're open for this, please find yourself a comfortable position. Maybe, do a little stretching. Anytime I'm kind of sitting still for a little bit, I like to kind of put myself with a little stretch. Whatever you need to do to get comfortable. Maybe just take a couple of nice deep breaths. And we're just going to see what comes through together. I'm going to just take a moment here. I'm going to light a little incense, and I've got some crystals around me. I don't know about you, but I know we get some, I don't know, crystal people probably have experienced a little bit of a pushback. People making fun of us, but I don't know. I love crystals. I think they're amazing. Maybe I've learned, there's the kind of just understanding them from an esoteric perspective, but also just like learning about them from a scientific perspective is like amazing. Crystals are really amazing. But I'm not going to go into that now. All right. So just clearing this space for us. I'm going to light a candle for us as well. I love candles, a little flame, a little fire, just kind of build some energy, creating this space that we're all in right now. So focused here together, just kind of with that intention of tuning in to ourselves. And, really my intention for this reading is that whatever comes through the cards, that they land exactly where they need to for each and every one of you. And that whatever comes up, you receive it with the same compassion and gentleness that you would offer someone you care about. And of course, always, if something doesn't fit for you, or if I'm, intuitively reading symbols in a certain way and the symbols say something different to you, then absolutely, that's really good noticing, right? And we can absolutely, these symbols can be read different ways. So please tune into what feels right for you. And of course, if it's just altogether not fitting, just let it go and leave it for the next person who might need to hear it. Okay, great. All right. So hopefully you're feeling comfortable. You got yourself all ready. If you want to, some people like to journal and they like to have a pen and paper nearby to do this. You don't need to. I think sometimes it's fine either way, but when we just kind of let things wash through us, we can kind of let go of that mental mind. But if you want to write it down as well, you can, because I'm just going to set this up with a couple of questions just to kind of start the reading around. So basically, the first kind of question I want to open up to you, just to consider as we're doing this reading, is what might be possible for you if you began to trust your own needs as much as you trusted the needs of those around you. Okay, so I wanted to say it again. What might be possible if you began to trust your own needs as much as you trust the needs of everyone else around you? Okay. And then, second, I want to ask, what might your inner knowing already be trying to tell you about that? Right? When we put other people's needs first above our own, there is something that we need to better understand and know about what, when we put our own needs, how that might support us if we're focusing on our own needs and trusting those as much as we trust the feeling that we need to take care of others. So I'm hoping that makes sense. So just that's just the intention here for the reading. So, all right. So, and I will put the name of the tarot decks that I'm using in the description so that if you want to reference them later, you can. Just calling on the intuition of the group that is here with us today. Anyone who's wanting to better understand this for themselves, just calling upon our higher knowledge and inner wisdom to help guide us in getting messages from these cards today. All right, just asking what wants to come through. Okay. Mm, mm. All right, so right off the bat, we're starting off with the Hermit. We get the Hermit card. And the Hermit, and again, please, if the symbolism, this is looks like a female figure here standing with a stick kind of coming out of a cave. It's number 9, the Hermit. And symbolism around this often is the time we take, kind of that going within, some solitude, taking solitude, time away, um, being able to reflect and have quiet to really hear our intuition. So I see a lot of that inner strength here. This woman, I'm seeing it as a woman, but we don't, this figure. This figure is holding a stick, and I know that this is a particular type of tree, and I don't know right off the top of my head what kind it is, but I believe that they are actually a tree that is in certain cultures is very revered as a wise tree, and it almost has the notches on the tree almost has like looks like eyes, like it can see. There's some sort of inner wisdom is reflected again there, and she's wearing all black here. So just notice what maybe that brings up for you. This figure here coming out of a time of solitude, perhaps a time of reflection. It's really hard to get in tune with our needs if we're always so busy and there's so much noise that we can't stop and tune into ourselves. So I think that for me, that's what I'm feeling. But that might bring up something different for you. So just tap into your own intuition around that. And the next card I pulled was the King of Cups. Okay. And so the King of Cups is, you know, a mature energy. Um, and the cups are often symbolize emotion. So, emotional intelligence, perhaps being really mindful when we speak to others and how we express ourselves, maybe how we talk to ourselves, even maybe how we care for ourselves, how we love ourselves. And when it came out, this card did actually come out in reverse. And some people, reversals can get a little complicated. But it's possible that, there is some need for some inner self-love here. Um, this figure is holding a little dog. I don't, it's kind of probably hard to see a little bit, but they're holding a dog. They're really actually nurturing that dog. Um, And, I think of dogs, kind of a playful energy, a playful having some time for play. Maybe you haven't made enough time for play. Maybe it's time to set a little time for yourself to get in touch with your inner child, perhaps. What did you like to do when you were a kid? What were your needs when you were a kid? What what could the adult you do to support that inner child in you that didn't have its needs met, perhaps? Is there some part of you that might have some information for you about that, that's wanting to speak to you? Yeah. And of course, again, taking what feels right and leaving whatever doesn't. But yeah, just letting your intuition speak to you around that. And then the third card I got here is the Ace of Pentacles. Okay. And pentacles are they're they're coins, they represent um, monetary things, things out in the world, a business. And the ace is new energy, and usually successful energy, that bright new pathway that might be opening up for you around something that may have to do with work, or something material that's materializing in your life, that maybe you are newly starting to seed, think about starting, or maybe there's a new offer coming to you that maybe keeping your eyes out towards would be helpful. I don't generally look at this as a predictive thing, but I do like to look at symbolism as just pointing to things that we can just be open to understanding and knowing, and things that come into our lives, and messages that might want to come in through our intuition about things that we might want to pay attention to, right? So is there something that you would like to start new, fresh, or maybe some offer that's coming to you that you want to keep your eyes open for? Yeah, it's got a lot of positive. This sunflower energy. Um, so nice. Okay, let's keep going and pull a couple of oracle cards as well. I'm just calling the intuition of this group here that wants to speak to us. Hmm. Okay. So under the Hermit, I pulled the Bone Collector here. And this card, in this particular Oracle deck, is about kind of the wise medicine woman or person, right? And they are collecting bones. So we are honoring our past in this, perhaps. Perhaps there's something that we do want to look back to our childhood around. maybe our family lineage, maybe something from our ancestors is wanting to speak through this for us. Um, it's a very powerful card. It's a number one. She looks very happy, or this person, I'm not sure the gender, but this person looks very, very happy. Um, there's some beautiful, almost, it's not like you can't really read what this is back here. It almost looks like it's some kind of written language, but it's not very clear. But it's like definitely like this energy portal that's kind of opening up. And we've got almost like a clock back here. There's a clock, so time. Maybe we're feeling that pressure of time a little bit. We're recognizing the time passes, things are moving on, right? We want to take advantage of this present moment and really see what's around us, take stock of the past and messages that we might want to take dear to what, messages from our ancestors, like I mentioned, or things from our past that might be important to remember as we're moving forward and taking, really make the most of our present moment as well. I'm also really feeling drawn that there's a peacock feather in this person's hand. And I learned something new about peacocks recently, that peacocks actually eat poison or eat snakes, like poisonous snakes. Um, and that poison, they somehow the poison is what gets pulled out into the feathers to create the beautiful colorful designs in their feathers. So they're like transformers. They're transmuters, transmuting poison and turning it into something beautiful, which I found fascinating. And I can't cite my source right now, so I better look back. But I do I when I heard that, it just felt so right to me for some reason. I was just like, yeah, like I have a peacock tattoo actually, and um, it was something that I got in honor of my mom actually, and yeah, that was a very powerful thought when I was thinking about peacocks. So just wanted to share that. And maybe that has some importance to you. Maybe that makes sense to you. Maybe, maybe there's a place where, needing to transmute some challenging things and see the beauty that has come from it, possibly in your life. And then there's a rabbit here as well. And yeah, rabbits are, I'm trying to remember right now. They have some interesting symbolism. And I am at a loss right now for kind of more of the deeper symbolism with rabbits. But, rabbits are very sensitive, and they're very quick. And, they're, where I live in the mornings when I go for walks, sometimes there'll be rabbits out there. And, they're very sensitive to any kind of movement, they're sensitive to the vibrations when people are walking. So they are very aware and alert. And very sensitive and beautiful too. So yeah, so just maybe take that and whatever symbolism rabbit has for you as well. So yeah, so that's very cool. And that was under the hermit, which, is interesting. They were both these kind of wise medicine people. So interesting. Yeah. And then under the King of Cups, we got into the unknown. And we have this person here who's all dressed up almost like for a ball, it looks like, but they are blindfolded and they are just kind of almost, yeah, it almost looks, and it's probably very hard to see. There's a slight rainbow behind them, and it almost looks like they're going through there's some mist here that looks like they're going into. So it's like they're going into this new realm, something that's unknown, right? And anytime something is unknown, oftentimes it can bring up a little nervousness, right? When we're trying to change something or challenge ourselves to look at life a little differently, or maybe handle things in a way that we're Maybe concern will, bring up stuff if we focus more on our needs than we have been in the past, and it changes a dynamic with people around us. There's some unknown. How are they going to react to that? How are we going to find a way to balance our needs so that we can be in relationship with each other and ourselves in a way that feels healthy and good, and that can bring up some uncertainty, right? So, but whatever this brings up for you, into the unknown. Um, and that was a number 7. Okay, and then last, this is interesting because this came up in a reading that I did recently. We've got Golden Palace here, and that was under the Ace of Pentacles, which to me, that cards, when we put cards underneath another card, right, we look at their connection between them. So we had the Ace of Pentacles, which is that new kind of beginning, possibly in business or something materializing, in our lives, and a new start in some way. And this Golden Palace, which is, definitely about that inner part of us, that we've got the moon here as well. That kind of the moon is symbolizes subconscious, our inner world, and a little bit of that unknown again, right? But we've got this. It's almost like, we've come. The moon cycle here is waxing, waning. Oh boy, I gotta learn that too. My waxing and waning of moons. Let's see. I guess I'm gonna say that's a waning moon. Anyway, but that unknown, and maybe this is a new start. Actually, maybe that part of it too. I don't know. Okay, sorry. I'll learn my moon cycles better too. This is good for me so I can grow with my awareness around symbolism. But yeah, we've got this old grove of trees that are all they're very cool trees here. And I really associate that with kind of deep inner knowing or wisdom, and this golden palace, which I also associate with that that treasure, that treasure that lies within us, that when we're able to, access it, it's like, oh, it has so much energy and positivity that it's like it's the place in us that sometimes we had to hide away because it was the part that wasn't safe to be shown growing up, because our gifts and the things that we were really skilled at maybe weren't seen, weren't honored, were maybe put down. And yet they're still there. They're still there, the parts of us that, our inner passions, and the parts of us that are connected with what we truly need and truly want. They're still there. It's all there inside of us. We just have to slow down a little bit and hear them. So yeah, so whatever that message is for you, of course, it's a number 23. Numbers are powerful too. Numerology, 23 breaks down into a 5. 5 is a number of change, sometimes a little bit of tension. So maybe there's something that's being uncovered here, something that's being uncovered. And sometimes when we uncover things that we're not sure about, again, we can feel a little tense about it because we don't know what's been lying under there. And sometimes when we do get more connected with what's underneath for ourselves, there can be pain and sadness that it's had to be so, pushed down for so long, and that, we haven't felt the safe people in our lives or container to allow ourselves to be vulnerable enough to access those inner parts of ourselves. But it's never too late, and it's so good to be, just finding ways to support ourselves and find supports in our lives so that we can create that safe container, so that we can get connected with that inner golden palace or your inner treasure, or whatever it is that maybe you've been hiding inside until the right moment to be able to reconnect with that part of yourself. Um, so yeah, so that's what's coming up for me today. And I think, well, actually, let me just draw one last. It's kind of a message card. It's another oracle card. Let's see what wants to come through here. It's final last messages from a card here that hopefully will speak to all of us. And if it doesn't, we'll just let that go for the next person that might need to hear it. Let's see what wants to come through. Oh, that one definitely wants to come through. Ooh, our soul. Our soul is speaking to us through these cards right now, getting in touch with our soul. Interesting. It almost looks like a mermaid with a fish here. Looks like there's a mermaid scales here. So that water, that connection with the emotional side of ourselves. Let me see in the back. It does have a message for us as well. It says, "Practice good soul care. The quality of our outer life is always dependent on the quality of care we give to our soul." Mm, that's beautiful. Yeah. So taking care of ourselves, really deeply taking care of ourselves. Yeah. All right. I'll just show this side as well. Yeah. That's a great message, especially for what we're doing here today. Okay. So, I just want to close here, but, invite you back to ground yourself, do whatever you need to do to get back here in the present moment. Maybe take a couple nice deep breaths again, feeling your feet on the floor, and just noticing, how you're feeling right now, and maybe how you feel now compared to when we started today. Whatever landed for you, whether it was a word, an image, a feeling, or even just a sense of something shifting slightly, that is a message from your intuition to yourself. And that's your message, right? So you don't need to do anything with it if you don't want, but maybe you want to just be curious. Be curious today if that feels right to you and just notice any connections or further intuitive messages that might come up for you throughout the day. And, if nothing landed, that's okay too. Sometimes we plant a seed and, it just needs a little time before we can, really notice what wants to grow from it. So, I am really curious about what might have come up for you today, what may have landed during our reading. And I genuinely would love to hear, anything that might have come up. If you want to put that in the comments and share, it's this kind of work is so much more rich when we're able to do it in community with each other. But also, please, listen to yourself and feel your boundaries out because sometimes sharing doesn't feel right. So I want to honor that as well. It's totally fine either way, whatever feels good to you. And if this did resonate, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help me to know if this is something that's landing for you, feels good, and you want me to continue making this kind of content. And it also helps others find their way to it too. So until next time, please be gentle with yourself, and I'm sending you lots of love. Thanks. Goodbye.